Greetings, folks. Welcome back. In this short video, we're going to talk about the cost of production. We'll start out with some basic cost concepts. First off, costs are important to firms because along with revenue, they determine a firm's profit. Of course, we assume that the objective of a business firm is to maximize its profit. Some other definitions: we had fixed costs. These are costs that don't change as output increases or decreases. And then we have variable costs. These are costs that do change with output. So as an example, let's say you had a small lawn mowing business. Your fixed cost might be the cost of your lawnmower, because whether you go out and mow 50 lawns during a week or don't mow any, you still have to pay the same amount for your lawnmower. A variable cost of having a lawn mowing service might be the cost of gasoline that you burn through. So if you mow more lawns, you're paying more for gasoline. Also, let's say you hired a worker to help mow the lawns. That would be a variable cost. So if you have the worker out mowing lots of lawns, you have to pay more in labor than you would if you didn't have that worker out mowing lawns. Another basic cost concept is that of diminishing marginal returns. That's this idea that the amount of additional output, in other words, your marginal output, decreases as you add a variable input, something like labor, to a fixed input, something like a factory. Applying this to your lawn mowing service, let's say you had your lawn mowing service and you employed one worker, and that worker could mow 8 lawns a day. And let's say you paid that worker $100. Your average variable cost per lawn would be $12.50. Let's say you wanted to hire a second worker, but because of diminishing marginal returns, you only have one lawnmower. Again, that's your fixed input. Instead of being able to mow an additional 8, let's say you can only mow an additional 4. So your marginal output of hiring that second worker is 4 additional lawns, but you're still having to pay that second worker for a day's work. So you go from paying $100 to $200 for your variable inputs. So the average variable cost goes up to $16.67. That's the $200 you're paying your 2 workers divided by 12 lawns you're able to mow. So because of diminishing marginal returns, it becomes more costly to increase your output. So now we're just going to draw some of these basic cost curves. We'll start with the average fixed cost curve, which is probably the easiest one to remember. So you have this fixed cost for your lawn mowing service. It's the cost of the lawnmower. So the average fixed cost curve looks like this. It decreases. The reason it decreases is because you're spreading your fixed costs out over more output. So you bought your lawnmower and you mow your first lawn. That fixed cost is assigned to just that one lawn, but as you mow more lawns, you're spreading the cost of that mower over more output. Average variable cost, we'll draw in, looks something like this. Might decrease initially and then kind of flatten out, but then it will increase, and you should remember why, because we just talked about it a moment ago. Your average variable cost might fall at first, but then increases due to diminishing marginal returns. So now your average total cost curve looks something like this. Might decrease, and then it increases. So it's U-shaped. You have a U-shaped average total cost curve. Why is that? Well, it might decrease initially because of the influence of decreasing average fixed cost. We saw that a moment ago. And then it will increase due to the influence of average variable cost. So finally, we can draw in a marginal cost curve. What do we remember about marginal cost? Well, when your marginal cost curve is below your average cost curve, your average total cost curve is declining. And then when your marginal cost curve is above the average total cost curve, it's pulling up the average total cost. So your marginal cost curve intersects the average at its lowest point. So that wraps up our discussion of cost of production. The marginal cost and average total cost curves are especially important when we go on to analyze different types of market structure. So you want to practice drawing these curves over and over to the point where it's kind of second nature to draw these. And that's it. So we'll see you next time.